What's up, soldiers? Thanks for joining me on this video where we're breaking down this past weekend's Giants Live World Deadlift Championships and the USA Strongman Championships. Before we get started, please do me a favor, hit the like button, please click subscribe to the channel, and for all things to help make you a better strongman, from training programs to educational guides, technique tutorials, and private special guest Q&As with top-level pro athletes and coaches, check out clubstrongman.com. Clubstrongman.com. All right, so let's get into it right out the top. 505 kilo deadlift. Did it happen? And you probably know by now because the news would be everywhere. The answer is no. Yet again, we still do not have a new deadlift world record. And I don't really know why Giants Live is so set on having this 505 number. I mean, Thor broke it by 1 kilo, and if you were to ask me, Thor is the rightful deadlift record holder over Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall, set the milestone, but that's that. So why not try 502, 503? I don't know, but they love this number. Now, you brought in a couple deadlift specialists this round again. You had Graham Hicks, you had Rauno Heinle, and Ivan Makarov, who all they said had a shot at this number, but it's just not there. I mean, it's really a Herculean effort. This is what, 1,117 pounds that we're going after. So not much of a surprise, but I think it's really just kind of a big task, and we're going to see it come soon in the next couple of years, but not amongst any of these guys that I just mentioned. So what did happen? Lucy Underdown did break the all-time female world deadlift record at 325 kilos or 716 pounds. Amazing lift. Lucy's the shit. Great job. Awesome performance. And then also we had the all-time raw and simultaneously American deadlift record broken by Trey Mitchell with 1,034 pounds. So he broke the raw deadlift record and also just broke Dimitar Savatinov's American deadlift record. Just an unbelievable lift. I mean, he nailed this, no suit, textbook form, great pull off the floor. His hitch was perfect, smooth, calculated, amazing job. And you love to see it because Trey Mitchell is back full force. Now, you may not know this, but at the Rogue Invitational last year, which I believe was November, maybe October, but Trey Mitchell tore his Achilles on the Iron Bull setup that they had. So that's a pretty devastating injury, and he's been in a boot for a big chunk of the past year. So to see him come back, set this record, and then also finish in second for the entire competition is absolutely unbelievable. So nothing but respect for Trey Mitchell. He's one of my personal favorites. Amazing. Congrats on that new deadlift record. Now, what was really interesting too is the closest person to get to this 505 kilo deadlift was Mitch Hooper. Now, if you go back and watch some of this, I was saying it as I was watching these previous lifts. I was like, man, if this guy really trains for it, I think he could go for it. Now, apparently he did not plan to even attempt this 505, but he got it almost up to his knees without that being a primary focus in his training. So, as much controversy surrounds Mitch Hooper, you have to give the man credit for, going for it when he felt like he had a shot at it. And also, doesn't matter how you feel about his tactics, doesn't matter how you feel about him as a person, the guy freaking plays to win. He's strong. He's got all the tools. So, amazing. I think Mitch Hooper's actually got a shot to hit 502, 503. Who knows? Could be coming, but more on that later. So, amazing. So what else happened during the USA Strongman Championships? Eddie Williams came out and got third place. Amazing. Eddie Williams did an amazing job. He was very consistent through all of the events and came down to a very close finish at the end between him and Austin Andrade. So I believe they were about a point separated between third and fourth. Eddie was 1 point ahead in that third position going into the Castle Stones as the last event, and fortunately for him, he had several inches in height on Austin Andrade, and he's a very good stone lifter. So he ended up taking that W and finished on the podium. So love to see it. Eddie Williams seems like a really cool guy. Great job. But that also meant that Austin Andrade, who's new to the pro scene, after winning the Shaw Open very recently, got fourth in a pretty stout lineup. So love to see it. You have a lot of new faces coming into the sport of strongman. I mean, just this year alone at World's Strongest Man and like Shaw Classic, you're having guys like Tristan Hoth, Wester Winsky, and even like Lucas Hatton, like the likes of these people. Like, we're seeing some new interesting bodies coming in to the sport. You know, it's sort of a new wave coming where you're going to have kind of this crop of these newer dudes coming in against some of the people that have been around a little while. So even though, you know, guys like Tom Stoltman is 30, I think, Alexei Novikov is 28, like, they've been around for a long time, and, you know, mileage does matter at some of these high-level shows. I mean, the body can only take so much. So I'm really excited about kind of the implications of some of this stuff for the future of strongman, and you love to see just new, fresh blood talent at the top, even if Mitch Hooper continues to freaking obliterate everybody. And that was really kind of, you know, once again, the storyline here with the USA Strongman Championships is Hooper was dominant. I mean, going into the Castle Stones, he didn't win outright. However, he did secure a podium spot, even if he finished dead last with 0 points going into the Stones. Now, what was interesting is Hooper actually bobbled the first stone going forward. He had kind of a big fight for it, so he dropped some points, but that ultimately didn't really make a difference because you ended up top three going in were the top three that finished. So we ended up having Mitch Hooper first, Trey Mitchell second, and Eddie Williams third on the podium. But Hooper was just unbelievable. I mean, he absolutely obliterated the car yoke, tied for first, maybe tied for second, I'm not sure, but he was first or second on the dumbbells. Did a really good job on the wrecking ball hold, and then, you know, just finished with a solid performance on the stones. But we have to consider not only did he do really well at everything, but he was definitely going in fried after attempting this 505 kilo deadlift. You know, doesn't matter how hard he didn't, you know, or how soft he pulled on it, he made those attempts, went for heavy deadlifts. That's pretty frying on the nervous system, and he still found a way to do extremely well on all of these. I mean, his car yoke in particular was just nuts. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about with the wrecking ball hold is just like a neat little tactic, and some guys do this and get away with it. You know, when you're standing there holding, it's designed to be, you know, grip and fortitude challenge. But what I was noticing is that Mitch Hooper's was a little more pronounced, is that he actually gave himself a little bit of a knee bend, so the weight was slightly supported on his quads, right? So, you know, you're kind of taking some of the weight of that out of your hands and into the rest of your legs to get some time going. Alexei Novikov did break the record on this event. Gotta love it, because Alexei Novikov has had kind of a tough go with injuries the last couple years. But hey, man, I would love to see him back near the top, you know, return to glory. So he's still a very elite strongman, won that event, but just not the same prowess. But hopefully he's back. You know, he's dealing with war in his country, and also just tore his bicep not that long ago. So some of this stuff, it's like amazing how quickly some of these guys are returning. Once again, Trey Mitchell tore his freaking Achilles less than a year ago, and he's already competitive with, you know, who is one of the best strongmen in history. Doesn't matter what you think about it. Look at the results. It's true. So Trey Mitchell could be pushing to win a World's Strongest Man or some of these really bigger shows coming up real soon. I mean, he is back. It's just, again, I cannot say how impressive it is that he returned at such a high level after tearing his Achilles less than a year ago. Unbelievable. So some other storylines we had about the Strongman Championships. Iron Biby competing in a full show. He did not end up doing the Castle Stones at the end, but I like Iron Biby for the fact that we want big personalities in the sport. Iron Biby is somebody who is a draw, who's going to get more eyeballs on the product. He's entertaining. He's got a good personality. But unfortunately, this guy does not do well in full elite strongman competitions. Do I think he deserves an invite? The answer is yes, because, you know, regionally, we want to select people from around the world who are the strongest from their areas. He might be the best strongman from the entire continent of Africa, so, like, deserves his invite. But I hope he gets, I don't know whether it's like coaching, this or that, not really sure, but I hope he can get some help to make him a better overall strongman, because he is sort of just a one-trick pony with the overhead lifts. And that's not a bad thing. I just personally would want to see more out of him. I'm only saying that for support because I want to see that guy do really well, and he never really has in a full competition. So one other thing I kind of want to talk about with this show is it's interesting that Giants Live had this in Vegas. Okay. Now, as you probably know, Giants Live, they did in the past have things like a North American Championship and other shows that were a little more around the world, but more recently, it's just been a tour around the UK and Europe. So these are things as strongmen and just as athletes, you got to consider, what do things like traveling do for your game? You know, and it's not just like the airfare or staying in different places, but also the home crowd. There were some people that were talking about this going in, is like, how is somebody like Tom Stoltman going to do when he's not in front of a home audience? And he ended up pulling out near the end of the competition, did not have a great show. Wish him nothing but the best. Again, none of this is coming from like a place of hate because he is incredible. But, you know, do these things affect him? Like, is he going to have better performances when he's in front of a home crowd, just like any other sport? So, I don't know, things to think about. You know, and then when you're going for like a all-time world record deadlift, somebody like Graham Hicks, like, do these things affect you? I don't know, you know. So really kind of surprised he did not end up doing a little better. Graham Hicks, I think he missed that 454 level, or that was the attempt that Trey made, 1,034. He did end up missing that from a misgroove, but like, you know, I don't know. And then Hooper, you know, Hooper, I don't want to sound like, you know, just like fanboying over this guy, but, you know, if you're somebody that wants to be good in strongman, you got to watch the way that this guy does things, because he is so smart and so tactical, and he's just so freaking consistent on everything. And that's why I included him for travel and consistency, because this guy shows up pretty much at any time, any place, any event, whatever it is. So just unbelievable. That's why he is on maybe the best run in strongman history right now. So what does this mean for the future of the deadlift? Really, it looks like, in my mind, you have three people. You have Hathor, Mitch Hooper, and Trey Mitchell who could push this thing over the next couple of years. Now, in my opinion, this record is Hathor's for the taking. It is his when he wants it, and I have no doubt that it's coming sooner than later. I think that Thor is capable not just of 505, but 510. I think he could really push this thing up to some pretty crazy heights, and I hope he does, because, like, let's end this stupid debate about Eddie, Thor, blah, 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 blah. Eddie Hall, he was the 4-minute mile. I mean, he did the impossible. He was the first one to do it, but I do rightfully think that Thor's 501, even given the circumstances, COVID, home gym, blah, 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 still think he rightfully has this record. He did exactly what he could with the circumstances, and I'm going to make a future video coming out later kind of breaking down, you know, each lift. Eddie's 500 kilo deadlift and Thor's 501. So that's that. But always want to hear your opinion if you got him. I really think Mitch Hooper's got a shot at breaking this record. You know, not quite to the level of Thor, but I'm telling you, man, if this guy is training for all these other events and on a whim took a fourth attempt to 505 and did better than all these deadlift specialists that they invited in, you know, you can't really put anything past him. And then lastly, what could Trey Mitchell do if he keeps going at the rate he is moving? It is absolutely incredible. This guy has the right attitude, mindset, and just overall positioning, performance to do some crazy things. So I would love to see this guy get in a deadlift suit and do some damage to this thing. I don't really know, but just as a athlete or as a fan of strongman, as somebody who loves deadlifts myself, I was actually in person about 15 feet away from Benedict Magnuson pulling 1,015. I just love to see these things happen. So I really hope to see a new record here in the next couple of years. I think it's coming sooner than later with Thor. I think we're due for this pretty soon. But that's that. So this is kind of my analysis and breakdown of the Deadlift Championships and USA Strongman Championships. You can watch all this on officialstrongman.com. And if you want to talk more about this show or anything related to strongman, whether it's the professional scene or your own training or anything else involving what I think is the world's greatest sport. Please check out clubstrongman.com to help make you a better strongman and be a part of a community to help all of us get stronger together. Thank you so much for watching and have a championship day.